When Isshin and Ryuken had arrived within Yhwach, it should have been one of the most hype moments within all of Bleach, but instead it ended up being rather anticlimactic. We're talking about Isshin Kurosaki and Ryuken Ishida, two absolute monsters who lost their wives to Yhwach's Ashvalan. It would have been fair to be under the assumption that they were training in secret for decades, but what do they end up doing in the 1000-year Blood War arc? Absolutely nothing. They show up, hand over the still silver arrowhead, and then fade back into obscurity. I do get it, Kubo wanted to focus on the new generation, but come on, you cannot dangle these two legends in front of us for 686 chapters and then have them sit on the bench during the final battle. The anime adaptation of the 1000-year Blood War arc has already been changing up quite a few things. Take for example Cour 3, where we see them arrive early onto the battlefield, and we even get an anime exclusive scene before their arrival in Yhwach where they are both stood at the grave of Kanai Katagiri, as it seems as though they are planning something huge. If it's true that over 50% of Cour 4 will include anime exclusive content, then both Ryuken and Isshin better get the fight that they truly deserve. In this video, I'll be breaking down the potential role of Isshin and Ryuken within Cour 4, and be sure to stick around to the very end of the video as I'll be discussing how they could have a battle against Yhwach. Isshin is a former captain who went toe-to-toe with a Hokyoku evolved Aizen. He actually flicked Aizen through buildings with just his finger. In a recent question and answer on Club Outside, Kubo revealed that Isshin had fought the Hollow White 20 years ago when he was under Gentei reign, so he was only operating at about 20% of his max power. Despite this, he still nearly defeated the Hollow, severing White's arm with his Blood Flame attack after releasing Engetsu. Aizen had to personally intervene and stab him in the back in order to stop him from using Bankai. And don't forget that Isshin belongs to one of the 5 great noble families, the Shiba clan, and we've never really seen him use his full unrestrained power in battle. And then you have Ryuken, the last pure-blooded Quincy. He has quite a brief appearance within the Bleach manga as he restored Uryu's powers in the Arrancar arc through some insane precision arrow technique, as he fired a Quincy arrow 19mm to the right of Uryu's sinoatrial node, thus allowing Uryu to reawaken his Quincy powers. Ryuken had also extracted the Silver of Stillness from the heart of his wife who was killed by Ashvalan. Ryuken has a technique called Clavier. By using one hand, he rapidly fires arrow barrages. As a pure-blooded Quincy, he also has Blood abilities, and it's a massive shame that we've never really seen him in a proper fight. I get that this may be a part of Kubo's method of storytelling, where he doesn't want to fulfill every single one of the fans' expectations, and he may want to leave some scenarios up to our own imaginations. But honestly, I don't think there's anything predictable about watching two grief-stricken husbands unleashing 20 years worth of anger against Yhwach who had killed their wives. In the manga, Ryuken barely appeared during the 1000-year Blood War arc, but thankfully the anime adaptation has given him a bit more screen time, as we even see him using Sōken Ishida's stolen Gate of the Sun, which allows him and Isshin to appear within Yhwach. It would be interesting to learn more about Ryuken's full moveset. Does he use traditional Quincy abilities passed down from Sōken Ishida, or does he have his very own Shrift and Ball standings similar to Uryu? Is there a chance for him to wield the Sanrei glove and even use the ability Let Steel against Yhwach? There's so much about the self-proclaimed last Quincy that we don't know about, and it could truly be fleshed out within Cour 4 of the 1000-year Blood War arc anime if he were to participate in the final attack against Yhwach. Isshin's character is also equally as fascinating as Ryuken's. He was aware that Grand Fisher wasn't the culprit behind the death of Masaki. He understood that hollows just follow their nature. His anger was always directed towards Yhwach, the puppet master who had orchestrated the Ashvalan 9 years ago. Plus, as a Shiba clan member, he represents the noble families who butchered the Soul King. Imagine Yhwach calling him out on that hypocrisy while they're trading blows. Just the thought of Yhwach exchanging dialogue with Ryuken and Ishida is just so legendary. The anime adaptation of Bleach's final arc is already setting things up perfectly. They've arrived within Yhwach early, they already stood at the grave of Kanai Katagiri to reinforce their resolve, and it appears as though they've arrived with a mission to fulfill. Imagine Ichigo and Uryu are getting pressed by Yhwach and Hashvald, things look pretty dire, and then Isshin and Ryuken crash the party, not as supports but as equals ready to throw down. Isshin finally reveals his Bankai, assisting Ichigo against Yhwach. We see his gets Getsuga Tensho charged with Engetsu's flames, something we saw glimpses of in the anime, and then you have Ryuken making up for all of the missed screen time as he assists Uryu in battling against Hashford. He could showcase a vault standing that's not directly derived from Yhwach's blood, but from the traditional Quincy techniques that are passed down from Sōken Ishida. There's even a chance for him to go full nuclear with Let's Steel using the Sanrei glove, sacrificing his powers permanently in order to take down the Quincy Emperor. Some fans have also discussed the possibility of Isshin utilizing the final Getsuga Tensho against Yhwach, as it would be poetic if both fathers lost their powers in this final battle. Now, if we think about this battle between Isshin, Ryuken and Yhwach, I don't think Yhwach would dismiss them. Yhwach may well bring up the secrets of the Shiba clan and their participation in the original sin of the Soul Society. And with Ryuken, he could straight up say, you call yourself the last Quincy, yet you reject your Quincy Emperor. Yhwach would test Ryuken's loyalty. He could even try to trigger a Schwalen on Ryuken, only to find that his traditional Quincy powers don't answer to Yhwach. The teachings of Sōken Ishida, which are the traditional ways of the Quincy, which follow the path of stillness versus Yhwach's path of progress, Ryuken would literally be the Quincy opposite of everything that the Vanden Reich ended up becoming. Some fans have also theorized how Isshin and Ryuken could take on Gerard or Askin while their sons handle the main event. Isshin tackles Gerard's miracle shrift while Ryuken tries to dismantle Askin's death-dealing shrift with precision arrows and Quincy science. In earlier videos, I've talked about this grand Quincy theory, where Mimihagi represents stillness, and thus belongs to the branch of traditional Quincy represented by Sōken Ishida, and this is the opposite of Pernida, who represents themes of progress, who has aligned itself with Yhwach and his Quincy. Cour 4 could dive deeper into the connection between the different branches of the Quincy and the Hands of the Soul King. That will be really fascinating to explore. Some fans also want to see how Isshin had learnt the final Getsuga Tensho. What opponent did he face off against that required him to learn such a technique? And is there an opportunity for him to use the final Getsuga Tensho or some other unknown ability against Yhwach here? Or even his Bankai could be revealed in Cour 4. There's a huge opportunity with Ryuken to really showcase the amazing abilities of the traditional ways of Sōken Ishida. He would have had so many years to practice and master these abilities, and like I've mentioned, it just would be good to see the extended moveset of Ryuken, since we've seen so little of him in battle situations. I think having Isshin and Ryuken join the battle doesn't diminish the roles of Ichigo and Uryu. I think there's an argument to make that it enhances their roles in the story, seeing their fathers put everything on the line, showing that this isn't just their battle, but a generational conflict. It would add so much weight to the final confrontation against Yhwach, and Ryuken handing over the still silver arrowhead wouldn't feel like such a MacGuffin. With both Isshin and Ryuken having more of a role in the story, it would build up to this revelation. Imagine Ryuken and Uryu teaming up against Yhwach, and even Isshin and Ichigo performing a dual Getsuga Tensho against the Quincy Emperor. This would be an amazing way for Isshin and Ryuken to pass on the torch to Ichigo and Uryu, and it would resolve one of the major flaws of the manga version of the 1000-year Blood War arc, the lack of a emotional resolution for the parental generation. We got the setup in Everything But the Rain, but we never really got to see a payoff for Ryuken and Isshin. I don't think Isshin and Ryuken need to have quite an extended fight. I mean, even 10 to 15 minutes of anime original content will be enough. Have them use their base abilities testing Yhwach's defenses, Isshin's flame-enhanced slashes, Ryuken's precision arrows targeting specific reishi points in Yhwach, maybe build up to a reveal of Isshin's Bankai, or even a hidden technique from Ryuken, and the climax could be them creating the opening for their sons, where Ichigo is able to take the upper hand against Yhwach and Uryu has the perfect moment for him to fire the still silver arrowhead. Isshin and Ryuken suffered for 9 years knowing that their partners were killed by the Quincy Emperor. It only makes sense for them to have somewhat of an emotional resolution here. Cour 4 of the 1000-year Blood War arc is shaping up to be unlike anything that we've seen up until this point, with Kubo stating that he's done more work on Cour 4 than all of Cours 1 to 3 combined. There's the promise of over 50% of anime original content being in Cour 4, which means we're gonna get around 6 to 7 episodes of new material, which equates to about 40 chapters worth of Bleach manga content. Over the last 2 years, Kubo has been working on these storyboards for new material for the 1000-year Blood War arc realistic anime, and he even stated that some of the storyboards for Cour 4 that he has drawn up may be very difficult for the animators to animate. The fact that Ryuken and Isshin have arrived within Vaharveld is our biggest clue that they are going to have an expanded role within Cour 4. But we have reached the point of the video where I want to hand over the discussion to all of you. What are your thoughts about how Cour 4 is going to shape up, and what do you think about the role of Isshin and Ryuken? Do you want to see both of them battle against Yhwach, or do you want to see them battle against the different Schutzstaffel members like Gerard, Askin, or even Hashward? I look forward to reading all of your thoughts, so definitely continue the discussion in the comments. And lastly, thank you for making it to the end of this one, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.